Welcome to Uncharted and Unfiltered, the journey back to you. I am Cynthia Jameson, your host, and this is where we break free from the noise and dive deep into what truly matters you. If you're tired of the shoulds, the expectations, and the pressures to fit into a mold that doesn't serve you, you're in the right place. This isn't a podcast about easy answers or sugar coated advice. This is your invitation to reclaim your path, embrace the unknown, and become the bold, unapologetic version of yourself that's been waiting to show up. It's time to get unfiltered. Let's get started. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Uncharted and Unfiltered, a journey back to you. I am your host, Cynthia Jameson, and I'm so glad that you are here. Today's episode is a little story, a little insight, and a big reminder that leadership isn't always about the big, bold moves. Sometimes it's about what we overlook, what we stop tending to, what quietly fades out of focus until it's too late to ignore. Now, let me share my story. This past weekend, my husband and I were away in beautiful Quebec City. It was the kind of weekend that just fills my soul. Slow mornings, charming streets, cobblestone, shops on every corner. There was a huge cruise ship that was visiting with lots of tourists. There was the FEQ, which is the festival in Quebec. It's the largest one in Canada, from what I understand. And we didn't know anything about the cruise ship or the festival. It just added to our experience. And it was amazing. It was amazing. And then as we were walking, I want to just get to this coffee shop idea. So on the Friday night, we were just kind of walking, scoping it all out, getting our lay of the land about where we were going to be, what we were going to plan, what we were going to do. And I noticed a coffee shop that I hadn't been to in a while. And it was a coffee shop that I used to love. And I lit up, truly. I was super excited. I remembered the warm experience that they used to create, the attention to detail that they had, the little things like having your pastry, whatever treat that you ordered for yourself, having that plated on an actual plate, some or even on a paper plate, depending on what they had available. You would have a proper knife, you would have butter when it made sense, and staff who smiled and took a moment to get to know you. So I was super excited to experience this coffee shop. And we didn't get to go until the very last morning. So when we went in, this is when things started to feel a little off. So I started to place my order. And before I even finished, the barista was rushing me, like literally trying to check me out with the two coffees before I even finished placing my order. So I had to say to the barista, I'm actually not finished ordering. And I've never, ever had to say that before. There was no warmth, there was no presence. It was transactional at best. So we get our coffee, we sit down, and that's when I really started to take notice of the space. So just imagine I'm going to invite you into this experience with me. In the corner, there is this dying plant. It's neglected. It is barely holding on. There's been no water given to it. The leaves are brown. They've cracked off. Some are on the floor. Near the entrance, there is debris on the floor. There are empty sugar packets. There are little stir sticks. And I had noticed that briefly, like out of the corner of my eye as we walked in. And that was probably a flag, right? And there are always flags. And as I'm sitting there, I'm noticing the windows, they are coated with dust. And the chairs, let's just say that they hadn't been wiped down in a long time, maybe not even since COVID. And I just sat there. I sat there, I had my coffee in hand, and I felt sad, not because of the coffee, because the coffee was still good. But what about this that it represented to me? So here's what struck me most about that. This cafe is not some unknown spot. It is a recognizable brand. It is one that has built its reputation on craftsmanship, on care, on community. Their origin story talks about starting as a humble kiosk that grew into a national name by focusing on quality and creating a truly individual experience for every customer. They speak about innovation, sustainability, and putting people first. And maybe that's what used to be true. That was at least my prior experience. It felt like that. But this weekend, that wasn't my experience. And I didn't feel like a valued guest. I did not feel a sense of care or pride as I was sitting in the space. I felt rushed. I felt unseen. And honestly, I felt so disappointed. I felt disappointed for the staff. I felt disappointed for the product. I just felt disappointed. And that's the thing about leadership, because it shows up in the disconnect between what we say we value and what actually happens on the ground. So, whether it's in a cafe, a boardroom, or a team Slack channel, people know when it's just words. They feel when the values are no longer lived. And so, from where I sit, as someone with years of experience, decades of experience in HR, leading teams and coaching high potential leaders now, this is the work that I do, these aren't just messy details. These are signals. These are subtle ones, yes, but they are signals just the same. The dying plant, that's care or lack of it. The dust, the debris, that's attention or it's disconnection. The rushed service, that's engagement or burnout. And my husband and I started talking about this, about how businesses don't just fall apart all at once. They erode quietly, slowly, through disengaged individuals, disengaged team, through leadership that is too far removed to notice. Right? So the leaders aren't there on the floor. And who knows if they ever go there, right? I just don't know that. This is a culture now that has stopped caring about the experience, about the people, about the mission, about their origin story. And I had this moment, this visual of being the undercover HR person in disguise, if you will, just like the show Undercover Boss, except for instead of uncovering scandals, I was actually uncovering silence, the absence of care. But it got me thinking, like, where are we as individuals not paying attention? Where are we letting something wither quietly in the corner? And sometimes it's not a plant. Sometimes it's our team. Sometimes it's us. It's our own energy, it's our own boundaries, it's our own sense of joy. And leadership isn't loud all of the time, but it is always visible, even in the things that we forget to tend to. And this was just such a beautiful metaphor in such an awakening way to just notice. And I want to ask you this, and I'm asking this with love. Is there a metaphorical plant in your life? Or work that's being neglected? Are you so focused on performance, deadlines, and the delivery that you've stopped looking around at what's gathering dust? And if someone were to walk into your leadership right now, what would they see? What would they feel? What would that experience be like? Now, to be clear, that coffee shop didn't ruin my weekend, but it did remind me of something important. Care is not a bonus. It's not fluff. It is the foundation. And when leaders stop caring, whether it's about the details, the people, or themselves, everyone feels it. Your customer feels it. Your team feels it. You feel it. So, this is my invitation to you. If this story has sparked something, if you're ready to connect to what matters, to lead with more intention and less autopilot, I would love to support you. You can visit the link in the show notes to learn more about my one on one coaching for new emerging high potential leaders who want to lead in a way that feels authentic, sustainable, and deeply aligned. Leadership that feels like you. Or if you're not quite sure yet, that's okay. Send me a DM or a voice note. I always love hearing what's resonating with you. This is Uncharted and Unfiltered, and this is your journey back to you. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamesoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.